Lionheart Cermia. She says she was born to be a hero, but the way I see it, she's a goddamn heroine, not the drugs kind. Hello internet, and welcome to a series what I like to call Should You Pull? But it's less me, more talking, because my college life takes away half my time and all my sanity. As you can tell by the title of it, I'll be going through her stats, skills, and most importantly, her dies, and let you guys know what I think about a certain unit. We'll first take a look at the stats. Her attack is very low, pretty decent health and speed, but nothing too crazy. But her defense is off the charts. The last time I saw such a formidable defense was like, I don't know, 2 seconds ago, because everything is fucking brilliant. But that shall soon change, because this girl counters the living estrogen out of Bellion. She also notably has 30% effect resistance. Her MP releases health while her concentration is crit chance. Pretty normal stuff. From her stats, we can already tell she probably has skills that scales off of defense. Now let's take a look at her skills. This is her S1. Attacks the enemy with a spear and increases speed of the caster for 1 turn. And there we have it. The damage actually increases proportionally to the caster's defense. Summoning will give you more damage and you actually obtain 20 fighting spirit from using S1. Interesting. This probably means she could be a nuisance on counter set to spam the living crap out of S1 like as spam poop emojis on WhatsApp. Moving on, we have skill 2. By the way, do you guys ever wonder why the official videos about a unit always starts with either their skill 2 or skill 3? Like, why can't they just start off for like skill 1? I was always so confused by it. Skill 2, which is a passive, it's far from over, is what she would say when she tortured the living shit out of Bellion, because this skill is where she really shine in the current meta. She starts the game with 40 fighting spirit, and after an ally suffers an extra attack, counter, or dual attack, dispels all debuffs inflicted on the caster and activates Shine. I did a pun with the Shine part earlier, but most people probably missed it. This effect can only be activated once every 3 turns, and I'm quite sure it'll be 2 once we skill enhance it. When Shine activates, she grants herself defense and effect resistance buff for 2 turns. And also she gets herself 50 fighting spirit. So basically, if she starts a fight and procs Shine, she'll be at 90 fighting spirit in total. You'll probably be wondering, what do you do with all these fighting spirit? Which S3 is where she'll be using them. This skill will be, in my opinion, the skill that allows her to be broken as fuck. I am the Victor. Not sure why she calls herself Victor when she clearly is named Cermia, but anyways, attacks all enemy with a spear before granting an extra turn. This skill also penetrates the target's defense by 50%. Holy shit. And of course, the damage increases proportional to the caster's defense. Now, it is worth noting, first of all, you get an extra turn. So pretty much every time you use the S3, you are forced to use S1 again, which basically means every time you use S3, you spend 80 fighting spirit, you get back 20 from S1 almost instantly. Well, it is instantly. And secondly, it is also worth noting that this skill can only be used if you consume 80 fighting spirit. Which, if you think about it, it also means the skill has no cooldown. You can just spam it whenever you have 80 fighting spirit. This basically means she'll likely be used on, again, a counter set. So you get to counter with S1, gain fighting spirit, and get the 80 again in no time. I can foresee her being solid with speed set too, but I think both will have their own perks and weaknesses, and sometimes you'd rather have one than the other. In the clip from her official video, she seems to literally hit Violet, I guess nobody listens, but on a rather unrelated note, she does a shit ton of damage. Of course, it's with defense buff and attack buff though. But for a skill that can potentially be spammed in the matter of like 1 or 2 turns, this is absolutely insane. We've taken a look at her skills. Now let's return to looking at her dies before proceeding to look at her body. I'll be giving you some of my opinions about her. She is like your long lost dog. You just want to hug her and cuddle the shit out of her. She's the counter for the most toxic units out there right now, namely Bellion and Celilius. I'm sure all of us are tired of these two, and yeah, Bellion with her annoying counterattacks and Celilius with her vigor buff, crowd control, and dual attacks. You can easily imagine them both proccing Cermia's passive, which cleanses off all her debuffs and nuke instantly with S3 when she gets the chance. It is also worth noting that she gets 30% ER from Awakening, so it is possible to also give her a solid amount of ER so you don't get instantly stripped or controlled again right after proccing your passive. And yeah, you even get ER buff from proccing Shine, so you probably just need like 100% ER and you'll probably be resisting a lot of stuff. Of course, she isn't specifically designed to counter these toxic as hell units. She can basically work anywhere since she can tank for days and do huge amount of damage at the same time. So yeah, power creep in the form of waifu, bro. In my opinion, She'll likely be built with a counter set with 100% ER, around that amount, a solid amount of speed, and the rest goes into defense, and of course crit chance has to be 100 and crit damage as well, with a little hint of HP. This build will allow you to resist balance strip and potentially some silly lizards S2, so you get to take a turn with Cermia and do S3 without a problem. Focusing a bit on speed will be essential, so you get to cycle your passive more and, well, take more turns. Otherwise, she'll probably take like 0 turns since she has no CR push mechanic like a Violet do. In terms of artifacts, there are a couple that can be considered in my opinion. I'm thinking of Secret Scythe, Anti-Magic Mask, Pure White Trust, or maybe Proof of Valor as well. I think Secret Scythe would be the best bang for your buck, but Pure White Trust would be fun as hell when I think about it. The other artifacts I've mentioned basically helps her take less damage or do more damage, since she can already self-cleanse, self-buff, self-survive, and, well, self-destroy the whole goddamn planet, really. Personally, I think you will absolutely want to give it a shot. I mean, either you get her or you don't. She even says it herself.
It's a 50-50 shot.
She will be one of the ranks to join the supreme meta called the Golden Girls. I definitely think she'll be able to counter her fellow Golden Girls, which is all well and good until you realize the enemy is probably just going to use Cermia with the Golden Girls and show you a fight with such permeating unfairness that you want to stop breathing. But hey, if you get her, maybe you can snipe her first and pick the entire Golden Girl gang yourself, eh? This meta is turning to be one of the most annoying one, and I swear to the great lolly in the sky, I will cry. Now, I wanted to end the video right there, but I realized I probably cannot make a long enough video for Peyra, so screw it, let's review her as well. Peyra, first of all, let's take a look at her stats. Her attack is pretty lackluster for a thief. HP is pretty average, but her speed is basically the second fastest in the entire game. Her defense is lower than the line of her bra, and everything else is pretty normal. She gets 18% effectiveness from Awakening, so it would suggest a speedy debuffer build. Her inputs are defense on release and effectiveness for herself, which, yep, it probably guarantees her to be a speedy debuffer. Let's take a look at her skills. Skill 1 is a pretty normal single target hit, but its effect is actually very interesting. Up to, I believe, 40% chance to stun with bolas, and if the caster is granted a barrier, the effect chance further increases by 25%. If it's soul-burned, it goes to 100 though. Basically, if she has a barrier, she will have a total of 65% chance to stun without soul burning. So yeah, pretty high chance to stun people. Now this would be a weird skill if she doesn't buff herself with a barrier, so yeah, she likely will. Her next skill is S2, Punishing Blade, which decreases enemy buff duration by 1 before restricting them and making them unable to be buffed for 2 turns. It also grants her an extra turn. Immediately we can see that she's meant to outspeed and debuff people with this skill first, especially Angel of Light Angelica. They even showed her against AOL in the freaking official video. Oh, thank gosh, she has a counter now. If you use this skill and land on debuffs, AOL will not gain any combat readiness and she'll only cleanse off the restrict. So the enemy team won't be getting the skill off from her too. Oh, I so need her right now. And finally, her skill 3, Pack Hunt. Increases attack of all allies except for herself for 2 turns. And here's the cool part. Grants herself stealth, escort, and barrier for 3 turns. And even more interestingly, barrier strength increases proportionally to the caster's level. Now that is new. This means as long as you're level 60, you'll get a fixed amount of barrier, which does look pretty bulky from the looks of it. We know what stealth and barrier is, so let's take a look at escort. The target takes 30% of damage suffered by all allies. Only the strongest damage distribution effect is applied. This means if Peyra has escort, she'll take away 30% of the damage suffered from her allies onto herself. Basically, she gives everyone an SSB passive. This is so good. And if you think about it, her barrier will probably be the thing that eats up all those damage. This will be a godsend for cleavers like me, and I will no longer just get tapped by a Rem plus belly and random counterattack. Taking a look at her artifact, it increases effectiveness, which is nice, and decreases CD by 1 turn after using a non-attack skill. This is limited to 3 times per battle as well. I do think this is one of the best artifacts for Peyra herself, considering she doesn't need Silver Rain since she does buff attack with her skills already. Most other thief artifacts are more damage oriented, which isn't quite suitable, I feel. Of course, I might be missing an obvious artifact on her, but let me know if I did in the comments. Right, now that we've gave her a little overview, let's talk about Peyra. She'll likely be built with speed and effectiveness with a hint of damage. Her base stats all allow her to be fast, and her innate effectiveness from Awakening makes it easy to reach high effectiveness too. Considering the barrier that she gets is proportional to her level, there's no reason to focus on bulk too much as well. Her best artifact in my opinion is probably Goblet of Oath, which is her own artifact. I do also think Alabastron could work, but I'd still think the decreased cooldown from Goblet of Oath would be really good, since that means she'd be able to use her skills the moment her buff duration ends. She will be a very good cleaver option to deal with pesky Angel Lights, so if you like cleaving, you best pick her up. For non-cleavers, I still think she's pretty worth it because of her speed. If you just pick her against a cleaver, they're likely forced to ban it. And hey, you can still use her as well in Arena and Guild War against all of those AOLs, so she'll definitely be worth it for you. But yeah, let me know what you think of her and share your opinions on her. That is all for today. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe to our channel, and take care. Oh yeah, do let me know if these sorts of educational, informational videos with a bit of weird commentary suits your taste. I simply cannot do the wacky edits too much now that I need to do my own laundry and get my own food and stuff, you know? Freaking college life, man.